Hey fans, it's Gabriel Kondiker here, and today we're going to show you how to drive the M7. So I'll tell you step by step how to make the M7 accelerate. So we're currently in the cab car, and we're going to Harlem 125th Street Track 2. We're going to do a run from Grand Central to Harlem 125th Street Track 2. We're currently loaded up in a quick driving train simulator 2020. So I'll tell you the steps to make the train accelerate. So first, when you bring the power controller towards this direction, the train starts accelerating. And when you bring this thing towards forward, I'll tell you what happens. Switch here. I got this. Here. And also, to add power to the brake, you have to bring the power controller towards this direction. Like all the way. And if you bring it all the way completely, it adds emergency brake. So if you bring it towards this way, you're adding power to the brake. If you bring it all the way, you're in emergency brake and it slows the train down. But if you bring it towards the emergency brake, where it slows the train completely but not, that's dynamic brake slowing the train down. But if you bring it like all the way into emergency brake, then it slows the train down completely. If you bring it to dynamic brake, it starts slowing it down. Now, if you bring it this way, I'll point out to you guys one more time. I don't know why I keep on saying guys, but it's not a big deal. This is what happens. It starts to move forward. It starts accelerating. Screw the speed limit, okay? This thing is annoying. This thing is annoying. How did I disable? Gosh, that thing alarm is annoying. Why disable it so it doesn't thingy? And plus, screw the speed limit. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, actually, I forgot to turn the cab lights on, which is Control L. Here. This is the control where you can turn the cab lights on. See? Okay, but you can also, that's the switch also to turn the cab lights on, but the cab light, for now we're just going to keep it on, okay? So I can see what I'm doing. So listen, if you bring this thingy, the master switch forward, natural reverse, if you bring it this way, all the way, you're in reverse position. And if you bring it after you're in reverse position, like all the way, you're going reverse. You're reversing, like you're going to the opposite direction we're going right now. If you have this master switch forward, natural reverse, if you bring it to forward, and if you have the power controller, it's not master controller. Did I say master controller? I don't remember. But if you bring the power controller like all the way, I'm going to say this again, if you have this master switch forward, natural reverse, in the forward position you have the master controller all the way towards this way, it goes the direction we're going. But we don't have it in forward. I guess we have in natural, but we might need a slow. We might probably need to bring add dynamic brake. There we go. Let's start speeding up. And plus, by default, in the M7s, the cab signaling is on. And by default, the simple control to turn the headlights on is H, and if you hit it once, it turns on. If you hit the control H, it turns the headlights on. If you hit it again when the headlights are on, with control H, it turns off. And if you hit it again and try to turn the headlights on with control H, it will not turn off. That's how it comes by default when you buy the M7 from the Steam store. But we're just going to continue on towards Harlem 125th Street. And to control your speed, you put the power controller towards 0%. That's how you can control your speed. You put it at coast, the power controller. Currently going 22 miles an hour. Did I turn the cab light off? Sorry. Here, let me just show you. So here, look, just pay attention to where my fingers are going. Here. Here. Oh, what? That's not, whatever, it's not a big deal. That was by accident, I opened that. Oh, sorry, but I'm just trying to make you, so. If you hit this, it turns on the F4 HUD. If you hit it again, it turns off the F4 HUD. I'm going to tell you again, if you hit this thing again, the FM4 HUD, it turns it on. If you hit it again, oh sorry, if you hit this thing again, it turns off. But we'll keep the FM3 HUD on. So by default in the M7s, the F3 HUD comes on, which is this HUD. Which is simply, let's say that you have the F4 HUD on and you don't know how to turn on the F3 HUD, you hit this control in the keyboard and that control in the keyboard. This one and that one. And that's the F4 HUD. If you hit this control in the keyboard and that one. But I think our speed limit has increased. So we can speed up. But for now, it doesn't matter if I'm speeding or not. I'm not gonna pay too close attention to that. All I'm just going to show you really is how to drive this, so just screw the speed limit. I might need to turn on the F4 HUD so I can turn on the headlights, which is this thingy. I don't think you can really see because my screen is like so bright today. I always keep it bright. It's not new. Let's keep the F3 HUD on, since by default, when you download the M7 from Steam Store, the headlights, I mean the F3 HUD comes on. The F3 HUD comes on, not off. I think what I was saying doesn't really make sense, but whatever, it's not a big deal. Anyways, we're going to continue on to Harlem 125th Street. Here. Actually, let me just... Here. Might need to slow it down because I want to make it slow down. See, I told you guys I'm not lying. I'm really being truthful for people that do not know how to drive the M7. They just bought from the Steam store in their neighborhood, buying this train for driving and playing games and making YouTube videos. Our tutorial video will end as we pull into Harlem 125th Street, so you know. So we currently have an 8-car train loaded up in the quick drive, bound for Harlem 125th Street Track 2, which is the track RM7 8-car train is pulling into Harlem 125th Street. But bye, hope you enjoyed my tutorial video. Stay tuned to learn more. Bye.